Hi friends, welcome to episode 61 of the Quirky Monday Craftcast. My name is Kalisha and you can find me anywhere online as Nadira Tani. I'm coming to you today from my home in Central Florida, and today is Tuesday, November 6th. I am coming to you from outside again today. We are doing that thing that I love to do oh so much, racing the sun. So as you can see, this side of my face is just sun-kissed and delightful. It is setting. It's probably going to be set in less than an hour. So let's see if I can get all of this podcast knocked out before we are in darkness. So welcome back to any returning viewers. Thank you so much for being here today. And if you are new, welcome. I'm so excited that you decided to spend some time with me. I do appreciate everybody that has found this podcast, enjoys this podcast, subscribes to this podcast. Also, we are just above 850 subscribers, and that is insane. I'm so excited about that. So you guys really have made me feel welcomed in this area, and thank you. Thank you for clicking that subscribe button. So yes, with that out of the way, thank you all again for being here with me today, and let's get into the podcast. So when I wrote up today's notes, I didn't write any finished objects, and halfway through the notes, I realized I did have a finished object, and it comes with a story. This is my finished object. But Kalisha, that just looks like a bag. Exactly. This bag is one that I thrifted last week, I think it was. And I was on the phone with my mom, and I was like, Mom, I just found this little tote bag. It's so cute. It's like 70s rug colors. You know, like that's little 70s show all over this bag, right? Am I right? Anyway, I was like completely taken by this bag, right? So I went ahead and bought it. And because Kalisha can't have nothing new, I got home and I took everything out of the bag I was using, put it in this bag, and I'm like shifting things around, getting everything sorted and organized. I'm ready to go to work on the next day, and then I go to close the bag. There's no zipper on this bag. That's not entirely true. There were zipper teeth on the bag. There was no zipper pull. So I looked at that and I was like, isn't this a mess? Well, this is obviously why the bag was in the Goodwill to begin with. So I was like, okay, well, I have a bunch of zippers because I make bags. I'm sure I have one that I can take the zipper pull off of that zipper and figure a way to like slide it back onto this zipper. So I was like, okay, I can do that. So I used the bag one day without being able to close it. And then I came home and went through all of my zippers, only to find out that none of the zippers were the same kind of zipper that was on this bag. So I ended up having to rip out the existing zipper, find one in my stash that was the right length and a coordinating color, put that zipper in the bag, and sew it all back up, which sounded a lot easier when I was like coming up with this plan in my head. The actual like putting it together like made me want to punch myself in the throat a little bit, but I think it came out pretty well. The only thing that I wish I would have done was not use black thread, but yeah, see, that's all of like the back stitching. And when it got up into this area right here, the seams in the bag are so thick that my sewing machine needle couldn't get through it. So, and I had to take these tabs off and then re-sew them back on. But that's why it's a little janky up here. I guess I should have just showed you this side, which looks nice, except for this mess. So I sewed the zipper in, and then when I had to put the tabs back on, originally they were sewed on and they looked like they were coming loose a little bit. So I decided to put a whole bunch of like hot glue in the area and then sew around like the hot glue patch. And I did that on both sides. But of course I ended up having to push, like I sewed these on by hand. I ended up having to like push the needle through the hot glue. So here I am sitting on the bed with like my needle and thread and like a set of pliers, pushing this needle through and like pulling it through with the pliers. Like, there was a whole lot of heavy DIY going on with this bag, but I am very, very satisfied with the final finished object. The zipper works nicely, and yeah, so here's the inside. It's a bag. It works. I'm happy. Hooray. That's the only thing I have for finished objects. So that's my thrift store fail and thrift store fix. So like for all the people who watch this podcast and I'm always showing like some awesome thing that I found in the thrift store, I fail sometimes. I'm not always like thriftily great. No. Sometimes the thrift store gods are laughing at me behind my back. So with that, we will move on into works in progress. I have a couple that you guys will have seen. So we're just gonna breeze through those real quick. I just want to show you the Harvest pullover, the Harvest Moon pullover. This is the second iteration of my Harvest Moon pullover. Last week I showed this saying that I was going to rip out the silver because I could not unsee the fact that it looked like a pencil with a blue eraser. I have since ripped that out and restarted the blue. Yeah, all of these markers are here because when I started crocheting the blue, I went to count the stitches and I had an extra stitch and I couldn't figure out where it came from. So I went back up to the last increase and counted my stitches to make sure that I had the right amount. And it just turned out that I had accidentally increased when I wasn't paying attention. Somewhere in the back here, there's 2 double crocheted stitches in one. So I just did a decrease and that fixed that problem. So I'm going to, oh, that's the top. So I'm going to be crocheting, I think it works out to like 10 rows, I think, of the blue, and then 4 rows of ribbing, and then the body will be done and I can cast on the sleeves. But that's it. I'm working on writing that one up. So that one's no rush. It's just something I'm working on the side. The next work in progress is, in the house. One moment. Okay, I'm back. The next work in progress are my rainbow chicken socks. Chicken leg, what was I calling these? Chicken leg rainbow socks? Yeah. I have turned the heel and thought somebody was walking up. I have turned the heel and I am now just working down the foot. So I forget how many rows I need on this foot. I'll figure it out eventually. But I'm just going to be knitting along. These are halfway done. And if you are wondering, this is the Sunburst Stripes colorway of Patton's Croy socks. I got it at Joann.com. And yeah, they're a 2x2 rib sock and they're really, really comfortable. So I think I'm going to make some more 2x2 rib socks because they're snuggly. You know what I mean? But that's all that I have to say about those. There's nothing special going on. Just 2x2 leg, short row wrap and turn heel, 2x2 foot, stockinette on the bottom, and then a toe, and then they'll be done. Yeah. I do have another pair of socks that are currently on the needles, being worked on. Those are the bamboo socks, Superba bamboo. I think is what it's called, something like that. This is the second sock, just vanilla. These are my reading socks. So whenever I am reading Harry Potter, or what else am I reading right now? I'm reading Harry Potter, and I'm reading book 4 of Harry Potter. And I'm also reading Akata Warrior by Nnedi Okorafor. I think that's her name. I'll put it on the screen because I'm pretty sure that's her name. But I stumbled upon that author, I think, either last year or early this year. And she has a series called Binti. And it's African sci-fi is the genre that she writes in. And it was so good. It was a trilogy. I read all 3 books. Thumbs up. Definitely recommend. Right now, I'm reading the second book in the series Akata Witch. So there's Akata Witch and then Akata Warrior. And I'm reading Akata Warrior, and I really, really enjoy it. It's also an African sci-fi kind of story. So, yes, I really enjoy her writing. I listened to the Binti stories on audiobook. And I listened to the first Akata story on audiobook, and I'm reading the ebook of the second Akata story. So thumbs up about her. So I guess there's a book recommendation for you. But yeah, those are reading socks. Whenever I'm reading, just knitting along with those. And yes, those are all of the works in progress that you have seen before. My next work in progress is like one row. I don't even think this counts as a real row, but I'm gonna show it to you anyway, and then we're gonna look at it on paper. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da! Is this even? No, this isn't. Like, there's no pattern that has started on here. I just did a couple rows of garter stitch, and I'm using this fisherman's wool that I've had in my stash for years. I've always been a little bit wussy when it comes to like wool and my skin. Like, it always feels like so itchy. So I never used this. Plus, this wool felt, and I did not trust myself to make something out of this and not ruin it by accidentally washing it. But now I feel like with the amount of knitting that I've done and like the appreciation for more natural wools and understanding how wool works, I can trust myself to be a little less precious about stuff like this. And I also want to, try new textures. So just keep this in mind, right? That is going to be, okay, not that one ball. Of course, I'm going to need another ball, but that is going to be my Ryan family cable sweater. So let me show you. Y'all, I am so proud of this. Like, wait until you see this. Like, if you follow me on Instagram, you would have already seen this. But if not, look at your girl. Look at your girl. Do you see all this? Do you see this? Now, we're not going to talk about the fact that some of my symbols are incorrect, but we're just going to keep going because I know what they mean, and that's what really matters. So I've got left side, I've got the right side. The middle is going to be the Trinity stitch. This is the cable chart for the Ryan family cable. So if you remember, a couple episodes ago, I was talking about Hannah. Hi, Hannah, of the Cozy Cottage Crochet. She had gone to, I almost said Italy. That's not right. Ireland. And learned about the Aran sweaters and how like the different families had the cable patterns that were unique to their family. So of course, because my last name is Ryan, that's an Irish last name, I went on the search, found one, could have bought the pattern, which would have been way easier, but why buy something that you can like make up yourself? So essentially, in the Ryan family cable, there is the Trinity stitch in the middle, which of course represents the Holy Trinity. There is a Tree of Life motif that is represents the family, a cable that represents good luck, and a zigzag, which represents the ups and downs of marriage. So that's what I did. So let's see. This is the tree of life. Oh, look, I've written it here because that makes more sense. This is the tree of life. That's the zigzag. So when you put them side by side, I've started, where's the zigzag on here? Here. I've started my zigzags at different points so that this one will start pointing in and this one will start pointing in from the other side. And the cables also do that. So the right side, everything kind of leans this way, and the left side, everything leans that way towards the center. And I'm so proud. I am so freaking proud of myself. And in order to get all of this together, I had to basically combine resources. Like this book, and this is one of the old crafty books that I got at a thrift store that I showed you guys a few episodes back. This book had the Tree of Life and the Trinity Stitch is in this book. I found a zigzag in this book, but the zigzag in this book only had two columns of stitches in the zigzag, like that. And the image that I found of the Ryan cable had 4. So I just basically extended, that's the chart. I extended the chart of that one to create a 4-column zigzag. So I got caught up in this project. I think it was this past Sabbath. I think so. I had like a super introvert day. I didn't go to church. I just stayed home and was quiet for pretty much the entire day. And I was just, rolling this idea around in my head, and I had found the different pieces, and then I had to figure out how to put them together and then like work out how many stitches would be best for something to fit me. And I have essentially created like a square chart for this this pattern repeat, and now I have to just figure out how I want to like shape it as it's coming up. As I've written it, this chart is bottom up, but who knows what we're gonna do going forward. I'm really flying by the seat of my pants with this idea, but I'm so excited about it that I don't really care that I'm flying by the seat of my pants. So, also, see, that's proof that I use these books that I buy. Yay me. So, because my brain is some sort of snowball making machine, when I came up with this, my brain was like, oh, but that's not enough. Like, we should also like keep going and do something else. And I said, brain, what are you talking about? What else can we possibly do with this? I'm gonna make a sock out of it. Now, this actually caused me more headache than putting together the sweater pattern, because the sweater, I'm going to make it in panels, or like I'm going to make it in pieces. That's the word. And so when I copied the charts out of the books, it's already written to be worked front and back. When you go to a sock, you're working in the round. So then I had to go through and kind of change everything so that it made sense as I would be knitting it in the round. Whereas all of the motifs are set on a background of what's it called? Reverse stockinette. So you would be alternating between knits and purls. There's lizards running around my feet, guys. When I went into the round, you don't have to alternate. You would just purl all the rows for it to be reverse stockinette. So in this chart, I really had to think about, okay, what would be a purl stitch as I'm looking at it, and chart it like that. So that made me feel like that. But I think this is correct. I'm not going to swatch it. I'm just going to start knitting a sock leg. And I don't know how stretchy this will be. It should be pretty fine because there's only 2 cables, like 2 like serious cables, but then all of these are like 2 like twisted stitches and like 2 stitch cables, like where they're twisted over each other, and those. And then this, it's a skeeter, y'all. This part here, this is the Trinity stitch, which is essentially a row of pearls, and then this row here is on the sock going to be a knit 3 together and then knit purl knit on in the next stitch, and then you knit 3 together and then you increase 3. So that's what that's gonna look like. So who knows, we'll see. A couple weeks you might see a little sock leg out of this, and fingers crossed it'll fit over my foot. So I think what I'm going to do, even though I have done like a couple rows on here because I haven't started any patterning on this, I think what I'm going to do, and I think what makes the most sense and would set me up for success, is do the sock first and familiarize myself with the Tree of Life cable and the zigzag cable. What is that? Some sort of bird that sounded like a sick goose was just flying by. Okay. As I was saying, I feel like if I do the sock first and kind of familiarize myself with the stitch patterns, I will be in a better place to actually take on a huge undertaking like a garment. So in my mind though, I'm thinking all the patterning is just going to be on the front panel, and then the sleeves are going to be regular stockinette, and the back is going to be regular stockinette, so I don't have to like overdo it. And then I think that's what it's going to be. Like, that's where it is in my head right now. So yeah, I am super excited about this. Ooh, Ryan family sweater. I showed the sweater online to my father-in-law, and he was like, "Oh, are you gonna make me that for Christmas?" I was like, I might make it for you in Christmas tree size, like Christmas tree ornament size. And he was like, okay. So yes, so that is all of my, or those are all of my works in progress and like some maker plans there. Did I have anything else that I wanted to show you for works in progress? No. So that will take us into stash positions, which I have 3. Yes, I have 3. Well, I guess you could say technically 4, because this would be a stash position, but I already showed it to you, so there's that. Now, the same day I got this bag, I was poking around in the Goodwill and I came across this goodie. And when I saw it, I was just like completely like amazed at the workmanship. And I got this for 99 cents, and it is a pin that's produced in historic Eaton, New York by Rob and Cheryl Nettleton. It says the wood patterns are produced from original American patchwork quilt designs. The various wood quilt patterns are constructed by the technique of parquetry, I think, like parquet floors, but then tree, parquetry. All of the vibrant wood colors are natural wood tones. No stains or dyes are utilized. The finest lumber from the 4 corners of the world is gathered and fashioned into a particular patchwork motif. Rob and Cheryl take pride in utilizing an ancient woodworking technique to preserve a truly American artifact. And this is what it looks like. Isn't that gorgeous? So this pattern is called the Ohio Star, and I have definitely seen this this quilt pattern before. But, and then look, oh, isn't that gorgeous? So I am gonna be super excited to add that to my pin collection. Yeah, and like 99 cents? Come on. Like, okay, so something about the Goodwill that kind of like, not confuses me a little bit, but sometimes I'm just like, when the original price is still on the item and the price the Goodwill asks for it is so much lower. Like, you can see right there, this was sold for $7.50. Whenever the last time it was sold was $7.50. So I don't know if that was the original price, like that you could get this from Rob and Cheryl for $7.50, but somebody sold this for $7.50, and whoever bought it for $7.50 didn't use it. It is pretty old because look at that tape. That's about to like crumble off into oblivion. But yeah, so I got this for 99 cents. But I really, really love it. Those different wood tones are just amazing. Like, it's amazing to think that just different trees come up with these different colors of wood naturally. That's amazing. So I will be adding this to my collection. Maybe one day I'll actually make a quilt. Maybe. Like that Grinch quilt I was talking about last year that never got the pieces cut. Yeah, I did that. That was me. Maybe that'll get made today. Or not today. Not today. Let me not lie to you. Maybe that'll get made this year. But along the lines of pins, before I go into the rest of my stash positions, I wanted to show you the pins that I'm currently wearing. I have this one. This one is from Claudia of the Crochet Luna podcast and Crochet Luna Etsy shop. So that's that one. And then I have this one. Let's see if we can get the glare off. It says lifetime member of the Yarn Lovers Club, which is totally true. But this one I got from the Clever Clove. And yes, I got it from the Clever Clove, and it was when she was having a second sale. So I got that one. It's a second. Not entirely sure why, but that's fine. And then the last one I have, where did I get this one? I got this one at a yarn shop in Maryland. Second Story Yarns? Second Story Knits? Second Story Yarns. I think it's called Second Story Yarns in Bethesda, Maryland. I think that's where I was. This was like 2 years ago, so I will fact check myself and put it on the screen. But let's see if you can read it. It says, real life crocheter, no, you can't touch me. I just thought that was funny. I got another one the same day that I got this one that says, I think it says like double agent or something like that, and it has knitting needles and a crochet hook, and I just thought that was really clever. If I remember, I'll put a picture in of that one so that you can see that as well. But back to stash positions, and I put everything in my handy dandy bag, which as many times as I hold this bag up, I'm like super proud of this, right? I am. Next, we have another thrifted goodie. Another Stitch dictionary, but you guys see that I use them, and whilst in the store, yes, I did pick this up initially because it was a knitting book, and I always do that, but I also flipped through it to make sure that there are new stitch patterns in here or stitch patterns that I just didn't recognize. So I mean, all of these could very well be in that other Stitch dictionary because it's like 750 stitches, but I don't know that it's doubled. I don't know if it's doubled. I'm just justifying this. I don't know why I'm justifying it, because I've already purchased the book. It's mine. And the last two stash acquisitions I have are these. I got my first fully spun yarn. I'm so excited. So this is Franken number 6, and it's a 50-gram skein. I think it's, yeah, original fingering yarn. So if you don't know about fully spun yarn, I will put her information down below. But what she does is her name is Brooke. So what Brooke does is she dyes the wool, and then she sends the wool to a mill, and the mill spins it into yarn. So you get these like really beautiful color variants and gradients, and like there's some with a lot of barber pulling in them, and it has like this hand spun feel from a mill spun yarn, which I think is really cool, especially since while I do spin, it's gonna take me a month of Sundays to get anything usable. So this is Franken number 6. It's called Franken because it's made up of like the leftovers or little bits of previous like other colorways. And I figured that would be perfect as like my first fully spun, because, don't get everything tangled, because you get a little bit of everything, right? I don't have to make a decision. So there's some like rainbowy goodness in here. There's like a whole bunch of green, which you guys know, obviously I like green. But I think predominantly it's a lot of green and a lot of rainbow. So I don't know if it's going to go like all the rainbow and then all the green. Which, I mean, that would be cool. So what I think I'm going to do with this, I kind of want to make socks, but then I kind of want to do something that would really put this on show. Maybe a hat? Ooh, yeah. It's only 50 grams though. Can I make a hat out of 50 grams that is big enough to hold all of my hair? Comment below. And you know what? It doesn't only have to be 50 grams. I can get another like skein of fingering weight and like supplement with this. That would be dope. You know what? I think that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to make a hat. So this will grow up to be either a hat or socks. Thanks for going through that decision-making process with me, guys. Appreciate that. Okay. And there is one last thing. Oh, my thumbs are stuck now. Help. Send an adult. One moment. There we go. I'll skein back up. There is one last thing on my stash positions that I want to share with you guys. Obviously, I need to stop talking and just put this yarn away. Just one thing at a time, Kalisha. One thing at a time. Ta-da! Da-da-da-da! So, the last thing that I have in my stash positions is a pen. So, you guys are probably most likely familiar with Gigi of Gigi Made It, who is fondly known over Instagram and the interwebs as Lady Orange because she loves everything orange. You go to her Instagram page and there is no doubt that her favorite color is orange. Like, I think that's delightful. Anyway, when she went to Rhinebeck, or right before Rhinebeck, she had posted, what was it? A tote bag with this design on it. I think it was a tote bag that she posted on Instagram, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love that. And essentially it's like a girl with a huge afro. Like, homegirl's afro is like this big, and she is behind a even bigger pile of yarn, and she's looking like Christmas morning. And when I saw that image, I was like, oh my goodness, I love it. This is great. You know, like the picture. And then Gigi went the extra mile of awesome and created an enamel pin, which I'll just show it to you. So there she is. Isn't she delightful? Here, my girls. Yes. Yes. So I was scrolling on Instagram when she announced that she was making this pin. And I was like, oh man, I would love to get one of those. And she put up a picture basically saying they're going to go live on this date at this time. And I was like, cool. When I saw it, the date written was the next day. So I was like, all right, cool. So I went and I put a alarm on my phone. Like, I was going to be that person. I was going to be that person who was on her Etsy shop as soon as these pins went live, because the last time that she did an enamel pin, they like sold like hotcakes, like flaming hot Cheeto hotcakes. I actually don't know how well that would sell. Anyway, they sold super fast. So I was like, I'm not going to get got. I'm going to be there, ready, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, going to get me a pin. So set my alarm, and then I had to go to work. On my way to work, I was sitting at a red light, and we have some really long red lights here in Orlando. But I was scrolling on Instagram while I was waiting for the light to change, and I see another post from her that says, get ready, they're going live in 5 minutes. And I was like, wait, no! Of course, I had seen this post, like, it was like, you know how it tells you when it was posted. It was posted like 30 minutes ago. So I'm like, oh my gosh, clearly all of them are gone because it's Gigi and her stuff is amazing. So light had changed. I was feeling all dejected and sad. Like, oh my goodness, I must have made a mistake. I read the wrong date. It was early in the morning. Hadn't had any coffee. I can't read in the morning. My brain was asleep. I'm not going to get this pin. I'm sad. So I was like, okay, well, let me just go on to work. Next red light, I was like, you know what, Kalisha? Let's check her Etsy shop. There was still some left, so I went ahead and I bought it. And I put in the message. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought I missed this. I'm so happy that I didn't. And so I'm so glad that I was able to get my hands on this pin. And it's called the All Mine pin, I think. And I love it. I just want to be like this girl. I just, even though I'm locking my hair, like sometimes I want like a huge afro. But then I remember that whenever I do let my hair out in a huge afro, it just tangles. So I'm like, let me just go ahead and lock my hair so that my hair can be the way it wants to be. And I just want a giant pile of yarn to snuggle. That's what I need in my life. So I have my All Mine pin, and it's actually really big. Like this, I don't know how big this button is. The one from Claudia, but like look how big it is compared to that button. Like this is a hefty pin. So I'm very excited to have this in my life now. But that's everything from Stashquisitions. And yeah, so that will take us right into a very brief Black Fibers, Black Threads. So this week on Black Fibers, Black Threads, I just wanted to highlight something that this awesome lady has been doing. So over the summer, I think it was over the summer, the diversity hashtag kind of exploded on Instagram, which I'm sure you guys are familiar with, which was basically like a call for a more diverse space of knitting and yarn craft to be to be seen or to be showcased. And This lady, her name is Jeanette Sloan. I think is how you pronounce her name. But she is like one of the UK's like premier knitwear designers. Like she does all kinds of things. She's been published all kinds of places, like prolific. I will link her info down below. So if you want to go check out her Instagram or her website or anything, it'll all be down below. But what she did, but she asked on Instagram if you can name knitwear designers of color. And then she put up another one asking for like crochet designers of color. And then later after that, she asked for yarn dyers of color. So of course people are responding to this message. They're posting their different people that they know of. And what Jeanette did was she compiled all of that data and created what is essentially a Yarny People of Color directory. So like if you are, somebody like me that wants to support other creators of color, you can just go to her directory and find knitwear designers and crochet designers and accessory makers. Like she's also like opened it up to people who make and sell like finished items along with patterns and things like that. Yarn dyers, like her list is like really long. And one thing that I really appreciated about it was she has linked everyone and like put a little blurb about what they do. So if you're specifically looking for a designer of color who focuses on like knitwear design or is multi-craftual, so you can get these different designs from them, you can look in those different sections. She's also noted if any of the makers have podcasts or websites that you can connect with them on, which is just amazing. And I do find myself going on there and like looking at the different makers so that I can discover new people, so that I can like broaden my horizon when it comes to supporting the crafters of color community, because I'm very passionate about that. It's very important to me that we like makers of color are seen as competent and on par with the rest of like the maker community, which it's easy to assume that we may not be because we're not featured, and it's just a matter of us getting out there and sharing our own stories and sharing our own work and pushing each other into the spotlight and stuff like that. So I really appreciate the work that Jeanette is doing. So definitely go take a look at her directory. You might find a new designer that is like your favorite thing ever. Go check them out. But that's everything for Black Fibers, Black Threads. I think both Gigi Made It and Fully Spun. Actually, no, both of them are on there. I know for sure. Gigi Made It and Fully Spun are both on that list. And yeah, I love just going on there and scrolling and like seeing new people that are added, because whenever she like gets like more people to add to that list, she's updating it, trying to keep it, up to date with those of us who are actually designing. And I'm so excited that I can say us because I'm actually on that list too. I've only like released like 2 patterns, like amazing. But that brings us to the end, which is my life and whatnot section. And this week, earlier in the episode, I was mentioning how this past Sabbath I had a super introvert day, which was just what it sounded like. I stayed at home. Like, I had asked my husband if there was anything like pressing that I needed to help him with or do anything for at church, because he records the service, like he's in charge of that. So sometimes I help him with videotaping the service. And he was like, no, not really, just recording the service. So I was like, okay, well, I want to stay home. And he was like, okay, cool, that's fine. So Sabbath, I slept late. When I woke up, I just, like, I got my knitting and I got my crocheting and I piled it up on the bed. I stayed in my pajamas. I did not speak for like at least a few hours. I think I got out of bed all of maybe 4 or 5 times the whole day. My friend Tiffany came over, so in the afternoon I, got out of bed and came to, talk to her, be a little social. Go away, mosquito. And then, I was like, okay. And then I went and I sat outside by myself, like laid in the sun. Then it got like ridiculously hot super fast because Florida. And I went back inside, got back on the bed with all of my crafting, and I was just quiet. And I was so amazed the next day, Sunday, when I had to get up to go to work. I was so amazed at the difference in my overall mood. Like I expected to feel more rested, physically. But I did not expect to feel like emotionally rested. Like I felt actually happier, like positive. My mood was up. I was like cheerful, peppy, just like the Kalisha that everybody expects to see. I was that girl. And it just really amazed me to see how much of a difference taking that time by myself to indulge in that silence and in the me time gave me, like that change that it brought about. When people say that it's important to take time for yourself, it is so important, especially if you're an introvert. You really need to have that time to like recharge and recover from all of the peopling that you have to do in daily life. What else? It's officially Christmas time in the mall. So if you're new, I work in JCPenney Portraits in the mall around here. And when I went to work on Sunday, so Sunday was the 3rd? The 4th. Yes. Sunday was the 4th of November. The Christmas trees are up in the mall. The lights are up in the mall. All of the Christmas music is playing. Santa's workshop is already there. I'm like, first of all, when did you guys bring this stuff in here? The dead of night? The dead of night, Halloween night, must have been when they put all that stuff in there, because my goodness. I walked in the store and it was just Christmas music. And I was just like, seriously? I thought we would at least get like maybe like a little bit close to Thanksgiving. No such luck. But ooh, mosquito trying to come for me. Okay, I have a little while before he comes back. But yeah, Christmas time is afoot. I'm actually excited to get ready to do Vlogmas again this year. I have been rewatching my Vlogmas from last year. I don't know if that's weird to like rewatch your own videos, but it's so cool to like look back and see the things that we did, the places that we went, especially since last year Lamar and I went to visit my family up in Delaware. So getting to see my family like in these videos, I'm so glad that I was recording and making these videos and stuff. So I'm going to be doing that again this year. And I keep telling myself that I want to do December daily. We're going to see how that goes. I might do like December weekly, but I do want to do more memory keeping this year, especially since my mom and my grandma are going to be down here for Christmas. So that's really great. I think that's everything that I really wanted to talk to you guys about. As far as the Quirky Monday Crafts Etsy shop goes, I have listed all of the fall bags. So small, medium, and large bags are up in the shop. And the next bags that will be going up are the fandom ones. So Harry Potter and Black Panther will be going up in the shop within the next couple weeks. I've also purchased some Christmas fabrics, so I'll be working on those as well. Yeah. And if you would like to buy anything from the shop, I did set up a coupon code for viewers of the podcast. So you can use the code, you can use the code QMC20, and that'll give you 20% off of your order. I'll put that code on the screen. So yeah. I think that's everything. A mosquito just tried to bite me on the neck. It's getting a little vampire-ish out here. But we won. I think this is the first time that we have actually beat the sunset, because the sun is just now going down. The sky is streaked with orange. Let's see if you guys can see. Can you see that? No, you can't see the colors, but you can see that the sun is setting over there. But so yeah, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Do something kind for yourself this week, and leave a comment down below of something positive that happened in your life so that we can all share in that positivity. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you so much for being a part of my universe.